Yo, YouTube, hello, and welcome to episode 1 of Draw for 20. I am your host, Eyes of the Fox, and today we are going to be starting on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Uh, I'm gonna actually try to draw Leonardo first. If you're wondering why I have a grid on my canvas, it's because my reference photo that I put together also has a grid, and I just kind of want to see how accurate I can get, um, and try to keep true to the proportions of the characters. I took some promo materials from the Neca action figures. I felt those did a really good job of representing the original Jim Henson characters. And I kind of cropped those and photoshopped them all kind of together to form like a new promo photo, basically. And yeah, we're just gonna see if I can kind of mimic what's going on there. Um, it's a lot more difficult than you think. I'm not just, gesturing it out. I'm trying to actually make sure that, like I said, all the proportions are correct. But yeah, I figured I'd start with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Uh, Something I grew up drawing when I was a little kid. Um, my mom used to take me to my grandfather's office, and he worked for the government. And he had like post-it notes and highlighters and all kinds of stuff. And I would take his post-it notes and I would just draw Ninja Turtles all over them. He had like the green highlighters, the yellow, the red. I mean, he had like every color except for like the purple. I can never get Donatello um, in there, but that's okay because we're gonna try to fit him in there today, or not today, but eventually. I think I'm just gonna try to get Leo done today, to be honest. Um, just kind of get one in the episode. It is draw for 20, so I do try to make sure that I keep it at the 20-minute mark. And yeah, we'll just kind of see how this goes. Um, like I said, I want to make sure that I do keep the proportions pretty accurate to what I'm looking at as far as my reference goes. Um, so, like I said, that's a reason for the grid. Say what you want about the grid, whether it's like cheating or like whatever. Um, I wanted to do something cool, and I figured if I just sat here and like doodled like the episode zero, um, it wouldn't be nearly the quality of graphic. So that's what we're kind of going for. We're going for a quality graphic, or as close to a quality graphic as we can get. It's pretty cool. Like, I can't remember if I mentioned earlier, but Jim Henson, Creature Studio, did the designs for the original Ninja Turtle movies, or Hero Turtles if you're overseas. Um, and yeah, man, the designs for the first two Turtle movies were freaking epic, man. It's like the coolest looking turtle. It was like the most believable of all the films. We had the CGI ones that were kind of fun, little romps, but didn't have that grit, that grit, that realism that first movie had. Um, and even though I did grow up watching the cartoons, um, it was really that movie that kind of put it over the edge for me, and made me really appreciate, um, not just the Ninja Turtles, but like the just the work that the Jim Henson studio did and continues to do to this day, or tries to anyway. Um, let's see, man, they're a lot, they look a lot bigger on my reference, um, so it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. If you saw the Zero episode, or like if you're an old school comic fan, they used to do like the ash cans, which are like the half size, like kind of black and white. If you saw the episode Zero, you'd know that I use the red as the undercolor. So I try not to be like extremely uh, loose, but more loose than normal. Just because you do have the red, you can't go over it. Trying to keep an eye on my timer. We are 6 minutes in. We got you know the red's probably the hardest part, uh, or the just the initial line work. Um, because when you start inking it, that's like the fun part. That's when you can kind of relax. It's like getting everything set up to do that in a oh man, what am I trying to say? In a manner that makes the rest of it easier, right? So like you spend a little bit more time. It's like I'm trying to think of ways to say this. Sorry, YouTube. I'm kind of new at the whole video and recording thing. Um, I think it was Abraham Lincoln was like, if you ask me to chop down a tree, you give me like an hour time frame. He was like, I'm gonna spend like 40 minutes sharpening the axe or whatever. So it's kind of what we're doing here with the red. We're sharpening our axe, so to speak. Um, and so we can spend less time on our black line and our highlights later. And I am using the Neca action figures as reference. Because I thought they were pretty cool. Trying to just make sure that get everything lined up. Like I said, it's a lot harder than it seems. Even if you do have your grid for reference, it's like you have to draw a little bit smaller than what I normally would. So yeah, I used to draw Ninja Turtles. They were cool. Everybody, everybody was like, "Wow!" I think that's when people realized, like, that was like, okay, this kid's like not half bad at what he does. Leo's got the two straps right here, and they kind of go around into his belt. Get the other little chest part there. Comes around. Look at that. Oh man, we're getting somewhere, folks. Yeah, the grid makes it so much. It's like at first it doesn't feel like it's gonna work, and then it starts to work, and you're like, yes. Feel free to use that technique for yourselves. Don't have We're halfway there. Don't have a lot of time left. Gotta hurry up. So yeah, Ninja Turtles, uh, created in 1983, didn't get published until 1984 by Mirage Studios, which was the basically basement studio of Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Um, they really did just have like a couple of desks and like a chair. And they would pass notes back and forth between each other. And then one day they were working, I forget what comic they were working on, but they were working on some comic. And one of them passed a note to the other one that was a little turtle holding some nunchakus. And, the rest is kind of history. Um, Man, who knew? They kind of started it as like a meme, and it kind of grew from there. They were kind of memeing. I say meme because they specifically were like they were kind of they just kind of took every trope they could think of as far as like the superheroes and just kind of stuck them together at the time. I think Raphael was always my favorite. I was always a little angsty as a kid, so I really kind of related to him. He was always kind of not really getting into trouble, but just a very passionate person he was. If these episodes go over a little over 20, I'm okay with that. I really try not to go like too far over the 20-minute mark. Um, just 'cause I want it to be like digestible. And I don't really have like a history or like a script of things to say. I just kind of wing it. Um, because I am just kind of like drawing for myself here. And if you find that fascinating, you find that interesting, I thank you. Thanks for watching. Um, you know, uh, I think as time goes on and I'm more comfortable with the process, drawing and getting everything together, that it'll get a lot smoother. Um, Man, see here, it's like gotta get that calf muscle, turtle feet. Because I am going by the action figures, it's like, you know, they're kind of they're posed in like one way. Uh, you kind of have to like make up for the fact that they are action figures. So you have to kind of like this leg over here isn't quite where it needs to be. So we're actually going to erase most of this. Let's see if we can kind of clean that up a little bit. And he's actually looking not bad. Um, if you hear me clicking away, I'm changing tools over here. Do have his shell. I think that'll help. funny. I was talking about Raphael earlier, and at the end of that first movie, there's a Turtle Power song. If you're familiar with the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And during that song, they talk about Raphael and how he's the leader. They actually say he's like Raphael, he's the leader. And I don't know if those guys watched that movie, um, but I if they only saw like clips or portions of it, or if they've never seen the Turtles before, or hadn't ever heard the opening theme song of the actual uh, cartoon, then they would know that Leonardo is the leader. And Raphael is just kind of, he's kind of the star of the movie, to be honest. Like, I think he has the most screen time of like all the turtles. It's which is okay with me. Like I said, he's my favorite turtle. Man, it's been so long since I've done this. And see, sometimes it just doesn't feel right. Like the action figure may like be a little off as far as like just how they're standing. So unfortunately, uh, I gotta get a little bit faster if I want to call this series Draw for 20. We'll just go long. We'll call it Draw for 20, and then we'll just go like 30. You know. That's fine. It'll be okay. Just get a little extra. And now I'm just kind of filling in gaps where I know that gaps can be filled. I really want to start inking him uh, today. I think if I kind of hurry up a little bit, I can get there. As I move my screen all over the place, sorry about that, guys. You get in habits that are kind of hard to break sometimes. You know, just gotta gotta roll with it sometimes. I'm trying to figure out like why this knee pad is like looks so much larger than the other one. And before you say it's because I drew it that way, um, I'm trying to figure out the foreshortening is not really coming through with the image. But I think once I have it kind of together um, with the rest of the turtles, I think it'll turn out okay. Um, all right, so there's Leo. I'm gonna I'm gonna move to my black line and see if we can start kind of trying to clean this up a little bit. And this is where like I think the fun part kind of comes in because now it's just like you already have your image, you have your lines, you kind of know where they need to be, And you can kind of fix anything from there. We are going to be drawing the other three turtles. Uh, I didn't realize, like I said, I didn't realize that um, this was going to take longer than 20 minutes. Didn't anticipate that. Thought it would go by a little quicker. Um, but that's okay. You can kind of see how I work, see how my mind goes together. I am reading The Last Ronin. I'm not going to spoil anything. I did kind of want to talk about the story. It does kind of take place in a a future in which there's only one turtle left. Um, the son of the Shredder has kind of taken over the Foot Clan and managed to take out three of the other turtles. Um, there's one turtle left. One of them we will be drawing if we're not drawing already. If you've read the first issue, you know who it is. Don't spoil it for people. Just kind of let it ride. Let everybody kind of find out on their own. But it's a really interesting story. It's really worth checking out. Just kind of wanted to start this particular series because it's been a while since I've drawn. I wanted to draw again, just see if I could. And while it's not like the best, hopefully we'll get better. And if you want to kind of, I wouldn't say like not learn from me, but learn from my mistakes. Like uh, whatever whatever you see me doing, you're like, oh, it's not right, or that's not the way you're supposed to draw. Like, don't tell me. Just keep that in mind to yourself, and then use that knowledge and make your own stuff better. I'm using the pencil because I really wanted to be like super sketchy with the whole process. Um, just kind of, give it like a real kind of sketchbook feel, so there's no like pressure um, over over my head. And then they're kind of flat here. They're like kind of flat. They're not actually, their heads were like separate, so they had like that kind of puppet neck, Um, and his mouth is super flat. You hear me clicking it's like down here. He's like, "Rrr." As I try to get rid of my red line and realize that I went over it with my black. So there's that. Gotta get rid of the grid. Let's see if we can just sketch the rest of it out. Props to the people on YouTube that can talk and draw at the same time. It's way hard. Especially when you actually like try. Now that I'm on my grid and I'm not like looking at my reference, I can actually like draw. Man, even though Raphael was my favorite, I did like Leo too. He just the swords, like the weapons, were always cool. I really like blue. Uh, uh, blues and greens. I think that's why I'm attracted to turtles because they're like the green. I like the blue. And the shells of those costumes were actually like super soft. You could see when Raphael like kind of falls on the floor in that one scene where the Foot Clan kind of launch him through the roof. He falls into April's apartment. Uh, it's his you could just that's like the clearest moment that it's visible that uh, their shells are were soft. Soft shelled turtle. Unfortunately, Jim Henson Studios did not uh, do effects for the third film. Man, I thought the third film really had potential. I really like the Japan aesthetic. Like when they're dressed up in the armor and they have the masks on, like that cover their lower part of their face, they don't look that bad. Like they actually look really cool. And I think that could have been like a really cool story um, had there been a little bit better production. It's almost like the Batman effect when they had in 1989 when the Batman movie came out and everybody was like, "This is dark, but it's not like creepy." And then you had Batman Returns come out, and it was just like, "What? What? Like what happened?" And so there was all this backlash from parents and stuff. So like, I don't know if maybe the first Turtle movie they thought was like a little too dark for kids, and they were like, "Hey, you gotta lighten up this turtle stuff." Um, and I'm not using a fine enough tool to to do some of these little details. Don't really want to zoom in. Uh, I just want to kind of keep it kind of kind of far out. Um, just because if I zoom in, it's not the way that it's going to be viewed. So I completely skip over drawing his bandana off to the side over here. If I erase, it's gonna erase everything. It's alright. Just draw it back in there. But for some reason, my the angle on my brush is like it's like drawing above my pointer. I think I need to recalibrate that next time. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Those kind of squinty eyes. They all had different like I don't want to call them presets. They all had these different like preset kind of eyebrows before, not before, but like what, like during the film, right? Like they all had like the different kind of shapes and the eye slats. Man, I'm almost thinking it would have been like a little bit cooler if I hadn't tried so hard to like follow the reference. Uh, Man, it just seems so like because I'm not really looking at it now, and it's just like it feels so much more natural. Like this sword here, it's like what is even? Can we adjust this? Get a little bit more dynamic. So it's kind of like coming at you a little bit more. And we are at 30 minutes. I've been recording for 30 minutes. I did not intend to do that. I have to relabel the series Draw for 20 plus 30. And they're kind of lit from the front. Um, Interesting. But then the figures have like, and even the suits I think at the time had like shadows painted on them. So not only are the figures being lit from the front, they also are kind of the front side, I guess. They're also have to have their own kind of fake shadow action going on. I'm just gonna kind of try to scribble that in there best I can. They do have little toenails, which is kind of weird. I didn't know that turtles had toenails. For the show feet people, there you go. Two big-toed turtle feet. His knee is like, you know, it kind of deceptive sometimes. You can kind of play with shadows to really show like where exactly the light's coming from and create a little bit more sense of depth that way. Um, but yeah, the rest of the videos, I'm gonna be trying to draw the rest of the turtles. See how that goes. Uh, as you can see so far here, this took like way, like I said, way longer than I thought it would. Maybe we can go in later and add like more little details, get like a sharper utensil, which could be kind of cool. It's not looking terrible at the moment. So yeah, a little bit more about my history of the turtles. Besides me drawing them on post-it notes when I was like 5 or 6, I did used to have a lot of the action figures. My parents were divorced, and my dad had got to get custody of me like every other weekend, and I didn't really have a lot of stuff like at his house to do. So like I remember one of the first times, or the first uh, couple weeks I went over there, we'd go to Toys R Us, and he would I'd get to choose, and I got for some reason I picked the Ninja Turtles. Like he wasn't like, "Hey, here's Ninja Turtles." He was like, "Hey, come to the toy store with me and pick out what you like." And I saw them and got all 4 of them. I think Toy Heads know that they had like a soft head version at the time, and then like a hard head version. I know that sounds weird, like a hard headed turtle. um, but yeah, like I remember like Donatello, and my I think was it my Donatello and Leonardo. There was 2 of them I had that had the squishy head, and the other 2 had like the hard head. And I always thought that was kind of weird. I was like, why does this one have that? And it was all like the production part of it. There we go. It's really the eyes that do it, man. Like that's all I had to do is the little eyeballs, and that like really popped it off. That's so cool. And we can do all like the original ones didn't have like a ton of little spots, but they did have like some texture. It's kind of like stipple some turtle texture on here. Darken up some more of this stuff so you really get a feel for it. It's interesting because the original comics were black and white, much like the Walking Dead, and they were huge. Like you couldn't keep them on the shelves. Like the comics were just they just popped off. And the pads are interesting. They have so many little detail, like all these little like nicks and like battle scars. Going back to the toys, some of the toys were weird. Like, they really were. And not weird like, oh, that's a weird creature. I've never seen that. Weird like Chef Raphael, or like, yeah, I remember there was one ad like of Leonardo. He was like a hockey player. It's like what? I guess it's not as bad as them being like a rock band. If anybody remembers those days, coming out of their shell tour. Yeah, that's cool. We get a little ink action. I don't really care for that. Draw for 20 has turned into draw for 40. It's alright. It's not what I originally wanted, but yeah, we'll work through it. It's a learning process, right? Trying to figure everything out. Man, if anybody remembers the old arcade game, I remember Leonardo, Donatello being like the two uh, like best characters to use basically, just because the hitboxes were connected to the range on their weapons, so their weapons went a lot further. Dual dual glints, some glint action. Man, I really don't like the how white the pencil tool uh, shows up. I need to go in sometime and kind of figure that out, fix that, make it a little less overpowering. Just kind of wanted to give like a little glow to the outside edge for here. Oh man. Again, if you watch the episode zero, you know, these are gonna be super informal. Uh, I've already made a comment where it's like, I don't want to teach you how to draw. I'm not here to tell you how to draw. Uh, I'm not here to ask for advice. um, if you do have any, yeah, feel free to put in the comments. Can't promise I'll take it. Um, Man, the main thing is like I really just wanted it to be 20 minutes, and now I'm like I'm bummed out and I'm excited at the same time because uh, I I wasn't too hyped about recording YouTube videos just because I don't feel like I have a lot to say. Like I do have stories, um, but it's like, does anybody want to hear those? Like, does anybody care? Um, you know, who cares that my parents were divorced and like the coolest thing about that was that I got some Ninja Turtle toys. Like um, my mom wouldn't let me bring them home, or um, or excuse me, my dad wouldn't let me take them back to my house. He wouldn't let me because he's afraid I wouldn't like bring them back, and he wanted me to have something there to play with. So the only time I got to play with my Ninja Turtle figures was when I went over there, which is once a month. Once a month, I got to play with Ninja Turtle action figures. And then uh, later in life, I did get to finally bring them back to my mom's house, uh, where I ended up getting a Technodrome and a sewer set. Oh man, those were the days, man. Little kid, you don't have anything to worry about. You just play with toys all day. That was the life. Just being a little kid watching Ninja Turtles. cool because you can use the white to kind of like dig out some of these like dings and stuff because just where the light will reflect off of it. Um, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, now we're starting to look more like. You remember when like in the Ninja Turtle movie, April O'Neil's actually could have been, uh, she had a future as an artist in that film. Like she shouldn't have been a reporter. She should have been an artist. The way she was drawing those Ninja Turtles in that movie, it was kind of funny. I think, if I remember right, those drawings were done by one of the two of the original creators. I can't remember exactly which one. If you know in the comments below, like uh, uh, which creator actually did that, um, those drawings, I would love to know. So I realized my white was overpowering because I was using the wrong. I think I was using the wrong. Yeah, I was using the wrong tool the whole time. That's all right. I think it gave us, you know, high white pops really hard. Now I can kind of fill in the rest with the pencil. I was using the pen. I was using the G pen. If you guys had seen the layout and seen the pencil tool that I was on, you would have been like, Matt, eyes, come on. What are you doing, bro? You're using the pen tool to do your white. Like, what are you doing? um, Man, I'm just going overboard on that glow over there. Yeah. Kind of makes me want to add some other colors. I'm not going to do that. The only other color I think I'm going to add, I'm going to make his mask red because the original Ninja Turtles had red. They all had the same color mask. It was all red. There we go. Add a little bit more color into the black. Get that a little bit more rich. Again, like I said, it's still new to me. Uh, so being able to actually like talk and draw and focus when I had all these plans in my head to do it one way, and it completely ended up being something, or ended up it ended up being a little something different, right? Like wasn't exactly uh, what I had planned, but it's like Bob Ross said, you get happy little accidents sometimes. And I don't think this turned out terrible, um, by any means, any stretch of the imagination. Didn't come out too bad. We still have three more turtles, folks. Draw for 20 is going to end up being draw for 60. I make that joke like 5 times now. Oh man. Oh man. My man. That was fun. That was cool. The see Rocksteady and Bebop in the new movies. I I thought it was hilarious. That was like one of the coolest things. They got the personality of the turtles right, I thought. Um, in the newer films, some of the older ones, I think, like the first movie, especially, they all kind of, I wouldn't say have the same personality, but like Donatello, you don't really get a sense that he actually enjoys machines. You do get a sense that he's kind of a nerd when he's looking at the books in the antique shop. Um, and maybe when he's kind of helping Casey like fix up the truck, you get like a little sense of, oh, he's good with mechanics, I guess. But other than that, like he's really kind of blank. And Leo in that film is also uh, kind of blank. It's not really clearly defined that he's a leader. Um, he just is kind of the guy that's like, Raph, you shouldn't do that. And then Raph's like, I'm gonna do it anyway. And then Mikey and Don are just like, oh, they're fighting again. Let's go on in the kitchen. You want a pork rind? I actually just watched the movie last night. It's the only reason I know all that stuff. Um, yeah, I know a lot of people uh, on YouTube, like, it's so full of people younger than me that kind of came around at like the Turtles were such a product of the 80s. Um, then unless you were kind of like born in or of that, you're probably not a fan of the Turtles, and um, that's all right. They're I don't think Nickelodeon CBS has done a very good job of I take that back. There are a couple of like cool turtle shows um that they've produced. There was one of the CGI shows was actually really good. Ah, I can't remember exactly what the title of it was. Um, but it was one of the turtle shows. One of the turtle shows. We're just gonna kind of put some black here. Not a lot, because I really don't know like where the shadows go. I just want him to be standing on something and kind of show like where his shadow might be. Get a little close to the bottom of the canvas. Again, super sketchy. You know what? I'm gonna what color are they? They're like, try to match it. It's down here. Let's crank that up. Whoop, that's too big. That's a little too blue. So I'm trying to see if I could add like green, what that would kind of do to it. Gives it a little bit, not a lot. Yeah, just like a little hint of the green here. I'm gonna have to rename my series from Draw for 20 to Draws Forever. Oh man. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna end it there. Sorry I didn't really talk too much. I wasn't really. Oh man, I was so focused on the drawing. Uh, and man, once I stopped kind of paying attention to my reference in the grid and just kind of like started messing around with it, I actually think it turned out uh, a little bit cooler than I had originally anticipated. Um, we are almost at the 60-minute mark. This is Wow. Yeah, if you sat here for an hour watching me draw a Ninja Turtle on only one of them, uh, God bless you. Thank you very much. Um, let's put it back in the middle of the screen there. I'm not sure when my canvas got off whack, but we're back in it now. I did leave space for the other turtles. I'm putting Donatello on the left. Raphael will be next to Leonardo on the right, and then Michelangelo on the far right. I was going to put the shredder in there also, but that would require a more vertical canvas, and I don't. I didn't want to do vertical canvas. I want to try to keep it widescreen, but I also want to try to keep like all the turtles in the shot together. Um, Probably not going to be able to match that green because I didn't save that color. That's okay. Uh, yeah, this has been Eyes of the Fox. You have just sat through 57 minutes of Draw for 20, and tomorrow you'll probably get to do it again. Because tomorrow we're going to be drawing Raphael, and it's going to be awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. Bye, everybody.